guys, join in. Let's do this. You know how we roll. What do you wanna learn? What do you wanna learn? Do you wanna learn something? You know, is there something that you want to know? Do you have a particular pair that you'd like us to look at? You know, but yeah, all in all, the markets are shaping up really nice for next week. So guys, let me just, the markets are shaping up really nice for next week. Yeah, they're coming up all right. So here I have this pair, which is Euro JPY. Yeah, we have Euro JPY. So first things first that I'm gonna do in JPY, I'm gonna break down Euro JPY for you guys so that you guys can see, right? So this week I'm breaking down Euro JPY. So let's start with Euro JPY and let's have a look at what's happening with Euro JPY, right? Okay. Welcome. Those who just joined us now, welcome. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I hope everyone's doing good. Welcome, guys. Those who just joined us now, feel welcomed. This is our role. So let's start with Euro JPY. So here I have Euro JPY. I'm gonna go to the weekly. Since it's Saturday, I'm gonna go to the weekly. Try to understand what is happening from the bigger time frame, right? So from what I can see here on this Euro JPY, what has been happening here, it looks like we've been in a correction, right? So what you need to understand is that, as we can see here, right, the first things first, guys, these are the basics, right? So what we can see is that here we're on a downtrend, and then now we're on an uptrend, right? So now what we can see here, now what we're gonna do now, simply on this Euro JPY, I'm just gonna go and find my area of significance, right? So this is the weekly time frame. So when this market was still pushing to the upside, this would have been my area of significance right there. That's an area there. And then I have an area here which the market had a sudden turnaround, right? So now I want to understand what is exactly happening here when this market is coming here. So from what I can see on the weekly, guys, what I can see on the weekly is very beautiful. What I can see on the weekly, I have this structure forming here. So this would be my second high and this is my third high. So we can see that now we have this 1 2 3 kind of formation that might have formed here on Euro JPY, just like this. Let me put it nice, guys. Remember, this is the weekly time frame, right? So what we can see already here on the weekly time frame, we can see that, oh, now we have started to, we have this impulse, and then now we have this bigger correctional structure. This is on the weekly. So what we can see on this bigger correctional structure, guys, is that we have the market moving and giving us that 1 2 3, all right, those 1 2 3 formation. So we have our one there, right? And then the second one, obviously, as we can see it, we have the second one somewhere around there, right? So we have this 1, we have this 2, and then we have this 3, right? And then here on the third touch, we want to understand what exactly happened here on the third touch, right? So here on the third touch, we want to see, okay, as we can see already, this is, guys, this is still the weekly. What we can see here on the third touch is that the move came to our third touch, right? So I'm just adjusting there nicely. Came to our third touch, and then we push down, and then from here what I can see on the weekly is that we are forming some sort of a head and shoulder formation, right, to push to the downside. So now from here I'll just quickly go to the daily time frame. Let me just quickly go to the daily time frame. So what I can see here on the daily time frame, guys, is this is beautiful. So what I can see is that there is a possibility that indeed this could be a head and shoulder formation to take us to the downside, right? So now we want to see how this head and shoulder is going to play out, right? So now we have this as the shoulder, right? We have this as the shoulder, and as this is the shoulder, of course we have this as a low, and then this is our low, right? This is our low. So when you look at this low, we have a very obvious near miss there. So obviously when I look at this one here, we had this impulse, and then this could be our shoulder, and then if this could be our shoulder, then this could be that this structure here, because this is the first high, then we don't know if this would push to the upside, but we are anticipating for it to push to the upside, right? So what we can see is that, yes, so now this will give us that nice head and shoulder, and this would be that left shoulder with a correction, right? So now it means that from the daily, I can say that we are waiting for this price to move here before it goes to the downside, right? So now simply from the daily, I'm quickly going to go to the 4-hour time frame. So this will be my 4-hour time frame. I'm just going to adjust my structures. So on the 4-hour time frame, where price is right now, I wouldn't be willing to do anything because price is literally in the middle of nowhere, right? This is nowhere where price is. So what I would be waiting for here on my price is that price would give me, it could give me this move to go to the upside, right? So this is the move that I could be waiting for before I take my sell positions all the way to the downside, right? So this is what I would be waiting for price to give me. So I can see I have this first touch, I have the second touch, I have this third touch here, I have the first touch here, I have this first touch, and then I have the second touch here. So I'm waiting for a third touch here on the 4-hour, but then also noting that we could have price reversing before it gets there, right? We can have price reversing before it gets there because we have this as an inflation point, which is the 4-hour double top. So if price obviously comes here and give us this double top, because this one is a near miss, we can see it's an obvious one. We can see that price did not even reach here, so price is most definitely going to come here. So now if price could give us this double top formation also here, breakout of a double top, then from here give us that correction, right? Then we'll be willing to take it to the downside from here. If not, then we'll wait for price to come and give us this third touch, and then we'll enter on the risk entry, and price will go all the way to the downside, and we'll be willing to take this price to the downside, right? So I hope you guys managed to get this. So on the 1 hour here, let me just quickly do this, remove this. On the 1 hour, this is where I'll be monitoring how price is going to the upside. I want to see this price going to the upside because I can see impulse correction is going to go impulsively the way I see it. This is going to give us a complete structure like this. So if this plays out like this, then here we'll just wait for that impulse correction, then we'll just wait for that retracement and then go to the downside. Okay, so after all this, also if we check the previous impulse, right, if we check the previous impulse and then we take it here, it just fits nice, right? It just fits nice. Impulse correction, impulse, it fits with the 1 2 3 overall structure. And then when we look at the structure, when we zoom out of the structure, what we can see is that we have this big head and shoulder formation that we might get, right? So from here, when price goes here, we'll wait for the price to get there, and then obviously we'll be waiting to take that short position right there with a stop loss of about 15 pips. Can we just put 19? It's fine. 15 pips, and our first target will be here, which will be about a risk to reward of 18, and then all the way to the 90% rule. If it breaks, that will be 32, and then obviously we'll be looking for price to go. There's this area here that will be waiting for price to go to. And if we go to the daily, again now, see, this is what exactly we are waiting for. This is what we're waiting for. So it might take time to play out, right? It might take time to play out. So also here I can see there is some sort of structure that is formed. There is some sort of structure there that is formed. So it might take time to play out, right? It might take time to play out. So it does give it time. But after all in all, if you want to take and wait to here, you can wait. But this will be the ultimate take profit, obviously. So it will be going, you know, price cannot go in a straight line. So it will be going there, giving us those bigger corrections, trying to get traders on the wrong side of the markets, you know, and then from there it will go all the way to the downside. So this will be the bigger structure of Euro JPY. So depending on how you want to take it, but obviously for us, we will be looking to take the trade next week here on the based on the 1 hour. Based on the 1 hour, guys. Those who just joined us, welcome, guys. Those who just joined us, welcome, guys. We are almost done. So this will be on the 1 hour. So here on the 1 hour, you can see 1, 2, waiting for that third touch there, and then from that third touch, that is when we can take the price to the downside. Okay, so that's about it. That's about it, guys. Do you have any questions based on the pair that we just did? Do you guys have any questions based on the pair that we just did right now? It is Euro JPY. Yes, the pair is Euro JPY. Yeah. Any questions up to now on Euro JPY? Or should we move on to another pair? Okay, Alan, thank you very much. Thank you, Alan. All right, let's move right along. Okay, so this was Euro JPY, and that is what I'll be looking for in this next week, right? So I'll be looking for this play on Euro JPY. So now moving right along, I also have somebody requested, let me say, it's USD JPY. It was also shaping up really nice. Let's quickly do USD JPY, guys. Okay, there we go. All right, we have USD JPY right here with us. Okay, so let's quickly do USD JPY, guys. So here's USD JPY. What I can see here, I'll do the same thing over and over and over again, because it is a process of repetition, and after all, when you repeat, this thing gets into your subconscious, right? So now, guys, with what we can see with the USD JPY, this is the weekly time frame of the USD JPY. So what I can see here on USD JPY is that we're from this impulse correction impulse, right? So this is the big impulse. So obviously, wherever there's an impulse, there will be a correction to go to the upside, right? So now what's happening here is that now, since we are on the weekly, what we can see is that here on USD JPY, we have broken out of these important areas right here, right? So these are the important areas that we have broken out of, right? So now, after breaking out of these important areas, what is there on top here? What is there to stop this area, right? So we have this as an important area right there, and then we have this as an important area, right? So now what we need to do now, we're going to focus on this as an important area, because this one has been broken. So we'll be looking at this, the top one, as our important area right now. So now what I can do here is strictly just to move my important area right there to the latest price. Just gonna move it to the latest price, right? Just gonna move it to the latest price. Then from there, what I can see is that, okay, price pushed through the latest important area and then came back down. But how? What is happening right here? That is what I want to know. So now I'm just gonna highlight this as my last highest high. Okay, so now quickly I'm just gonna go to the daily time frame. So from the daily time frame, what I can see is that, okay, now this is what I have, right? This is what I have. I can see that, okay, price now impulse from here, from my area of importance, which is here. And how did price get here? This price got here very correctively, right? It got here very correctively. And after getting here very correctively, we can see that it should be able to give us some sort of a structure on how it got there, right? So this is on the daily. So we can see the structure that it gave us there, right? We have this structure it gave us, and then it impulsed out of this structure. That is simply what happened here on UJ, right? So after impulse, you know what happens after an impulse. You know what the market does after an impulse, right? So what we need to understand now is that now, since we have verified that we are on a downtrend, what is nature telling us, right? What phase are we in, right? So now I'm quickly just going to go to the 4-hour time frame to try to see if I do not have a structure, right? So what I can see here, okay, this is the bigger impulse that I can see. And this, for me, you can see this is the first high, and then here the price came down, but it did not come back to this area, making this an uptrend, right? So as this was an uptrend, what is it forming? It is forming for us a correctional structure, right? We have a correction right there. So this is our correction. So someone must be asking yourself, sorry, okay, this is your correction. Then now, what do we do since we have this correction, right? Excuse me. We have this correction, and then now, from what I can see here on the 4-hour, we have this area of inflation right here that we'll be looking at, right? So as this is our correction, and this is our 90, this is our 90, and then this is our area of inflation. Those are the areas that we'll be looking at. And then obviously, ultimately, we'll be looking at these areas down here, right? We'll be looking at these areas down here if price do. So we just have to let price do what it do. So now from here, I'm quickly just gonna go to I'm gonna remove this area here at the top, just to wait and see the reaction of the price here. If price breaks out of here, then I'll know that the price will go to the top area, right? So now what's happening now, I'm quickly gonna go to the 1-hour time frame. Okay, so this is the 1-hour time frame, guys. So what's happening here on the 1-hour time frame? Okay, so let's look at it like this. What we can see and what is clear is that we have an ascending type of nature, right? We have an ascending channel there going to this area of inflation, right? So this area of inflation, we have an ascending nature, we have an impulse, we have a correction, and then we have this 1, 2, we're waiting for the third touch right about there, right? So now, knowing that those are the factors that we're waiting for, now we need to understand how are we going, or how are we approaching this area, right? So from what we can see is that we have this impulse, correction, impulse, and then from here at the last stages here, the price just started to give us that squeeze, right? Price just started to give us that squeeze in the form of a correction, right? So price is approaching correctively here, right? Price is approaching correctively, and then when price is approaching correctively, what do you expect now? If we want to see a reaction, right? So now we have this reaction, and then price gave us that impulse. Now we want to see 4 to 8 candles to now take the move to the downside, right? We want to take the move to the downside. So now we want to wait and see for this correction what exactly is happening. So I'll quickly just go to the 15 minutes. I do not recommend that you guys go to the 15 minutes, right? Especially if you're still beginners, right? Okay. Because this is what the 15 minutes is doing. The structure is very okay. So from what I'm seeing here on the 50 minutes, guys, is that there is a possibility that this price here could still push a bit to the upside and give us this, the way it's approaching. I just wanted to see, there we go. This is how price looks like. Okay, so the way it's going, it looks like this price will come and give us, obviously it will break, and then we'll be waiting for that move to the downside, right? So if it does break from here, because here we can still see that this price is still higher than this one, so we're still on an uptrend, so we trade with the trend and then we wait. We're waiting for that reversal price action, right? So we'll just wait and see what happens at the top of the structure when this price gets there. Are we going to get something like this? Remember, price has a tendency of repeating itself, so we might get something like this, similar to this here, and then it happens right about here, right? So if it does happen and we break out, remember guys, we break out here, you are not losing anything by having FOMO. So you just wait and then we break out, and then after breaking out, you just wait for that flag that you'll take to the downside, right? So I'm not saying that this is not a flag yet, because that impulse, if you check here, this impulse is not really an impulse. This is more of a correction. So I could still say that price could still just correct to the upside and then go down, right? Okay, so yeah, that's about it on USDJPY. That's the kind of play that I'll be looking at. And then in terms of take profits areas, I'll be looking at this area here on the 90, and then I'll also be looking at this area as my low of the structure, the 90, and then obviously all the way here. If this plays out like this, it would be a beautiful trade. Let me just quickly check. If we have a play like this, right, if we have this play out like this would be very nice. This would be very nice. So if we have this impulse and then we have this correction, and then this would be very nice. So this would be the 90% of this, right? So we can see there is a possibility that it might play out like this, right? It's a high possibility that it play out like this. Give us here, come here, head and shoulder formation, continue to go to the downside. So if this plays out, we'll be looking at about put the risk entry 15 pip stop loss. Let me just put 17, it's fine, because I don't want to zoom out all the way to here. That's like 27, and then all the way to here, that's like 42. Yes, that's like 42. So you can see that this could be a very nice play also on USDJPY. I hope you guys can manage to capitalize on it. Okay, all right, so yeah, that's it